Marijuana groups, they send Trump a wish list for upcoming term, including protecting gun rights for cannabis consumers. Shout out to all those 2A supporters out there. 2 leading marijuana reform organizations have sent the incoming Trump administration a memo calling on the president-elect to take a series of steps to enact federal cannabis reforms, including ending prohibition, protecting gun rights for cannabis consumers, promoting banking access for the industry, and expanding clemency to people punished by criminalization. The memo, jointly issued by the Marijuana Policy Project, MPP, and NORML, credits President-elect Donald Trump for endorsing legalization and cannabis banking reform on the campaign trail. And the groups are now providing a roadmap to see those goals through to enactment. At the center of the organization's memo is a request that Trump, in quote, end the federal criminalization of marijuana, allowing states to decide cannabis policy without undue federal interference. During his last term and his last campaign, Trump did express support for that policy, and he also endorsed a Florida adult use legalization measure that was ultimately unsuccessful. Short of ending federal marijuana criminalization, MPP and NORML advised that the Trump administration support the ongoing rescheduling process, issue guidance formalizing a policy of non-interference in state cannabis laws, and support a bipartisan bill that would protect banks from being penalized by federal regulators simply for working with state licensed marijuana businesses. The memo also states that the administration should ensure that people who use marijuana have their Second Amendment rights to buy and possess firearms, pow, 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 and it calls for a policy change to make it so past cannabis use is not a disqualifying factor in federal employment. Additionally, the document says Trump should expand pardons for people with federal marijuana-related offenses and policies barring people who use cannabis from federal housing benefits, and allow Washington, D.C. to implement a system of adult-use marijuana sales and remove barriers to research for cannabis, you guys. While the majority of Americans support ending marijuana prohibition, federal policy remains stuck in the past, it says. And in a quote, by removing marijuana from the Controlled Substances Act in a manner similar to alcohol or tobacco, President Trump can reduce federal overreach and increase liberty, the memo says. They should have included Doge in there, because that could have been part of because it's going to lower the budget and all of that type of stuff. But nonetheless, in a quote, states that wish to continue criminalizing marijuana for adults use or for medical use would be free to do so, but it would no longer be a federal crime to choose to relax with marijuana for state licensed businesses to sell marijuana in accordance with state laws. It also cited a bill from Congressional Cannabis Caucus co-chair, Representative Dave Joyce, Republican from Ohio, who called the States Act 2.0 an example of a starting point for federal reform. The legislation would end federal marijuana prohibition in legal states, legalize interstate cannabis commerce, and normalize IRS to policy for the industry, and contemplate a federal tax and regulate framework for the industry, you guys. In a quote, like alcohol prohibition before it, marijuana prohibition has failed. It has also become quite unpopular, the joint memo from MPP and NORML states. President Trump can lead the nation to sensible national federal policy, which enables states to make their own decisions and allows for sensible lab testing and safety regulations. He can also roll back federal overreach that denies Americans of their gun rights, work, housing, and federal contracts for relaxing with cannabis. And please don't hesitate to reach out to explore these and other policies that the second Trump administration can make to advance liberty and allow states to choose their own marijuana policies, MPP's Karen O'Keefe and NORML's Morgan Fox said in a quote. It's unclear what marijuana policy during Trump's second term will look like, and Trump's first choice to lead the Drug Enforcement Administration, DEA, withdrew from consideration last week, and the Florida sheriff had strongly advocated for marijuana decriminalization in the past. For his part, Biden has come under increased pressure to expand his marijuana pardons before the term ends, and the White House said last week there's going to be more to come in the way of clemency actions in the upcoming weeks, without specifying whether that will involve people currently incarcerated over cannabis, you guys. Well, I imagine those pardons and clemency is only going to involve, White House assets such as, Pencil Neck Adam Schiff and, Fauci and a whole bunch of others, Liz Cheney, Rhino, and can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this.
Oh boy.
Yeah. What do you think about this wish list?
I mean, I think that it's a cool idea. We shall fucking see. I don't think that it's going to be helpful. I mean, it's cool to say it. I think once again, it's another group that's like, oh, look what we did.
That's fair
The federal government is not Santa Claus. They're not coming down the chimney with a whole bunch of changes and pardons.
Listen, I agree with that. They do protect their own out there. That's for sure.
And I think that this administration is going to be a lot better than the previous, but I don't think that it's going to be for necessarily directly cannabis reasons. I think it's going to be some of these other changes like Operation Choke Point and things like that are going to be taken out that will indirectly
benefit the cannabis space that are hampering progress. I agree with some of that. I think ultimately cannabis will get descheduled under this administration, but time will tell.
I hope so.
I'm not expecting that.
Optimistic.
Yeah, but just to be clear, I'm not expecting that in the first 100 days or even, you know what I'm saying, even over the first, even in the first 2 years, I'm not expecting that. I'm not expecting that till towards the end.
There's a lot going on internationally that needs to be dealt with first. Like if you're looking at what's happening in Syria, if you're looking at what's happening like overseas right now, and the things that we need to pull our fucking interest out of and kind of reassess our involvements in, I think there are a lot more crucial issues right now than cannabis. So I don't expect big changes in the first 100 days, but I do expect some at some point. Sorry, Saman, go ahead.
We'll pull out game strong.
I was going to say we have some keen insights here. We were with some of the fundraisers for the Trump campaign, and we had a great networking event with some guys that even Jason remembers from the first administration. And look, everybody's hopeful about all the things that are left lingering in the air. So whether or not it's good or bad, we shall see, Jenny, just like you said.
Yeah. And I think we have to also keep in mind, like when we're talking about fundraisers, like, hell yeah. They're like, what's your cause? You need your puppy to have surgery on Tuesday? We got you.
Listen,
we love fundraisers.
It's a lot going on, but there is definitely some movements, but that's all I'll say.
No, I agree.
Lots of movement.
That's totally fine. I mean, like, Jason, how many drafts of federal legislation have hit our inboxes in the past 4 years since we've known each other?
Lots. I mean, I've sent a lot of them. I've sent a lot of them too. You know what I'm saying? A lot of revisions, a lot of editing, a lot of, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Redlining, all of that good stuff. You know what I mean? But I'm here for it. It's all in the name of progress. And each day that we're not there, we are a day closer to being.
That's right.